duty, Huxtable. Are you ready for captain's inspection?
Yes, sir!
Here to hop, halt, hey! Hut, sit!
In the 1980s, one family felt like America's family, the Huxtables. Every week, millions of people welcomed them into their homes. They were warm, funny, and perfect. But behind the cozy sweaters and the perfect smiles, a quiet war was starting. It was a battle between America's dad, Bill Cosby, and his free-spirited TV daughter, Lisa Bonet. So why did she suddenly vanish from the most popular television show? The Making of an Emperor.
I am your father. I brought you in this world, and I'll take you out.
To understand the kingdom, you must first understand the king. Bill Cosby did not just become the most powerful man on television by accident. His journey started far away from the glamour of Hollywood, in the tough neighborhoods of Philadelphia. He was born William Henry Cosby, Jr. on July 12, 1937. His father, William Sr., was a cook in the U.S. Navy and was often away from home, eventually leaving the family for good. This left his mother, Anna Pearl, to raise Bill and his younger brothers by herself, working as a maid to support them. The family struggled and ended up living in the Richard Allen housing projects, a place that would later provide a lot of material for his comedy. Despite these challenges, young Bill was a gifted student and a talented athlete, becoming the captain of his high school's track and football teams. But he dropped out of school and joined the Navy, where he served for 4 years and earned his high school diploma. After the Navy, he won an athletic scholarship to Temple University. To make extra money, he worked as a bartender, where he discovered he had a talent for making people laugh. Soon, the pull of comedy was stronger than the pull of college, and he dropped out to become a full-time stand-up comedian. He moved to New York City and started performing in famous clubs like the Gaslight Cafe. His big break came in 1963 when he appeared on The Tonight Show. At a time when the country was deeply divided by race, Cosby made a very specific choice with his comedy. He did not talk about race. Instead, he told funny stories about his childhood and family, things that everyone, black or white, could relate to. He once said he would rather talk about the similarities between people, not the differences. This approach made him incredibly popular with a wide audience. In 1965, he made history. He was cast as Alexander Scott, a secret agent in the TV series I Spy. This made him the first black actor to star in a weekly American drama series. He was not a sidekick. He was an equal partner to his white co-star, Robert Culp. The show was a huge hit, and Cosby won 3 Emmy Awards for his role. He was now a major star. Throughout the 1970s, his fame grew. He created the popular cartoon Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids, based on his childhood friends. He also became a powerful voice in advertising for brands like Jell-O and Coca-Cola. But he never forgot his passion for education. He went back to school and earned a master's degree and then a doctorate in education from the University of Massachusetts. Now he was not just Bill Cosby the comedian, he was Dr. Bill Cosby the educator. By the early 1980s, Cosby's career had slowed down a bit. But 2 producers, Marcy Carsey and Tom Werner, wanted to build a new sitcom around a big star, and they chose him. Cosby had a very clear vision. The show would be based on his stand-up comedy and his own family life. He wanted it to be educational and positive, and he demanded something almost unheard of in television: full artistic and content control. He would be involved in every decision, from the scripts to the casting to the furniture on the set. One writer on the show later said Cosby was the emperor. This was his kingdom, and he was about to build his perfect family. But he was also about to hire a young actress who had no interest in living by his rules. The Emperor and the Free Spirit.
It's my money in my bank account in my name. You're acting like I'm asking you for your money, and I'm not. It's my money, and I can do what I want with it. Are we still in America, or what?
To understand why Lisa Bonet disappeared, you first have to understand who she was. She was never going to be the perfect daughter everyone expected. Lisa was born in San Francisco. Her father was a black opera singer, and her mother was a Jewish schoolteacher. Her parents split up when she was very young, and she grew up feeling like she did not quite fit in anywhere. She once said that the world was not ready for the merging of two races. She explained that she did not always feel welcome, not in her mom's family and not at her school. Because of this, she learned to protect herself by holding a little bit back. She did not always feel safe. This feeling of being an outsider shaped her. She became a free spirit, a rebel who did not like to follow the rules. Her mother saw her unique spark and signed her up for acting lessons at the Celluloid Actors Studio. At just 11 years old, Lisa started auditioning for commercials. A few years later, at age 16, she landed the role that would change her life. She became Denise Huxtable, the cool, stylish second-oldest daughter on The Cosby Show. The show was a huge hit right away, and Lisa Bonet became a star overnight. But she was a different kind of star, one who was not afraid to be herself. While Lisa was a rising star with a mind of her own, Bill Cosby was the king of television. And he did not just act in The Cosby Show, he controlled everything. He was the star, the co-creator, and the producer. He had full artistic and content control over the show, something that was almost unheard of in Hollywood. The writers on the show even had a nickname for him. They called him the Emperor. The show was his kingdom, and he ruled it completely. The Huxtable family was based on his own real-life family. Cliff and Claire Huxtable were successful and college-educated, just like Bill and his wife Camille. They had 5 children, just like the Cosbys. The stories in the show often came from Cosby's own ideas and his stand-up comedy routines. He was involved in every single detail, from the words in the script to the furniture on the set. People who worked on the show remember him walking around the set quietly, looking at every picture and every piece of furniture to make sure it was exactly what he wanted. This was not just a TV show to Bill Cosby. It was his message to the world about what a perfect family should look like. And he expected every actor on his show to live up to that perfect image, both on camera and off. He wanted them to be role models who reflected his vision. But Lisa Bonet had her own vision for her life. She was a free spirit, and he was a powerful man who demanded total control. They were like oil and water. It was not a question of if they would clash, but when, and that clash would be the beginning of the end for Denise Huxtable. The first act of rebellion, Angel Heart.
That's not why I took the film. I took the film as just a creative choice, and I wasn't really thinking of Denise or her reputation at all.
The first major crack in the perfect Huxtable family picture appeared in 1987. Lisa Bonet was 19 years old and one of the most famous teenagers in America. She was known to millions as the sweet and quirky Denise. But Lisa wanted to show the world she was more than just a character on a family sitcom. She decided to take a role in a dark and scary movie called Angel Heart. This was not a family movie. It was a serious R-rated thriller. In the film, Lisa played a mysterious young woman who gets involved in a dark world of voodoo and murder. The role was a huge step away from The Cosby Show. It included a very graphic and controversial scene with the actor Mickey Rourke. The scene was so intense that it had to be cut down by 10 seconds, just so the movie could avoid an X rating and be shown in mainstream theaters. As if the movie was not enough, Lisa also did a photo shoot for Interview magazine to promote it. In the photos, she appeared topless. For America's favorite TV daughter, this was shocking. It was a bold statement. Lisa was telling the world that she was an artist and a woman, not just a child in a sitcom. She later said that her duty was not to the character of Denise. She felt her duty was to herself and to her own career. But back in his TV kingdom, the Emperor was not happy. Bill Cosby was furious. He saw Lisa's choices as a personal betrayal. She was damaging the clean, wholesome image of the Huxtable family that he had worked so hard to build. He publicly dismissed the film, calling it a movie made by white America that cast a black girl and gave her voodoo things to do and have sex. This was more than just a disagreement between a boss and an employee. This was a declaration of war. Lisa Bonet was declaring her independence. She was showing Bill Cosby and the entire world that she was her own person. She would not be controlled. This act of rebellion made her relationship with Cosby very tense. Her ex-husband, Lenny Kravitz, later said their relationship became impossible to fix. Lisa had drawn a line in the sand. But what would happen when her own life created a new problem that Bill Cosby could not ignore? A problem that would get her kicked off her very own show. A different world, a bigger problem.
Daddy!
Who's this?
Dad?
Are you in jail?
No!
After the controversy of Angel Heart, a big change happened. Lisa Bonet left The Cosby Show to star in her own spin-off series. It was called A Different World, and it followed Denise Huxtable as she went off to college at the fictional Hillman College. This was a huge opportunity for Lisa. She was the star of her own show, a show built around her character's popularity. During this exciting time, her personal life was also changing. She had met the musician Lenny Kravitz at a concert, and in 1987, they got married. Then, in 1988, during the very first season of A Different World, Lisa announced that she was pregnant. She and Lenny were expecting their first child, a daughter who would be named Zoe Kravitz. This happy news in her real life created a massive storm behind the scenes of her TV life. A new producer, Debbie Allen, had just been hired to make A Different World feel more real and exciting. When Debbie heard that Lisa was pregnant, she saw a golden opportunity. She thought it would be a powerful and interesting story to show a young, smart college student like Denise becoming a mother. She wanted to write the pregnancy into the show. Debbie explained her idea to Bill Cosby. She imagined Denise as a strong young woman from an upper-class family, having a baby because she wanted to, not because she was married. She thought other young women would be inspired by her story. But Bill Cosby did not see it that way. His answer was a hard no. Lenny Kravitz wrote about this moment in his book. He said Cosby told Lisa and Debbie Allen, "Lisa Bonet is pregnant, but Denise Huxtable is not." Cosby had a very specific image for Denise. She was a good girl from a perfect family. He refused to let her become an unwed mother on television. He believed it would ruin the character he had created and protected for years. He would not let Lisa's real life interfere with his fictional world. His decision was final, and the problems did not stop there. The set of A Different World became a very unhappy place for Lisa. Her co-star, Jasmine Guy, who played Whitley Gilbert, later revealed just how bad it was. Jasmine said the first season was whack and that she hated how the producers were treating Lisa Bonet. She described how they would get in Lisa's face in front of the whole audience, pointing at her and talking down to her. Jasmine said she thought to herself that Lisa was a sweet girl because she would not have let anyone treat her that way. The situation got so bad that Lisa Bonet had to hire her own security guards just to feel safe on the set of her own show. This was not just about a storyline anymore. Bill Cosby was not just controlling a character, he was trying to control a real person's life. When Lisa's life did not fit into his perfect plan, he did not change the plan. He punished the person. As a result of her pregnancy, Lisa Bonet was written out of the show that was created for her. Denise Huxtable dropped out of college and disappeared from A Different World after only one season. The point of no return.
These are my children. I gave birth to them. Do you have any idea how hard it is to give birth to two babies at once? Pretty darn hard, I will tell you that.
After Lisa Bonet gave birth to her daughter Zoe, she did not return to A Different World. Instead, Bill Cosby brought her back to the place where it all began, The Cosby Show. It was 1989, and Denise Huxtable was coming home. But she was not the same Denise who had left for college. The show's writers had to come up with a new story to explain her absence and her new life as a mother. The story they created was a bit strange. It was a clear attempt to fit Lisa's real life into the show's very strict, wholesome rules. On the show, Denise had not just dropped out of college. She had traveled to Africa, where she had met and married a Navy lieutenant named Martin Kendall. She returned to the Huxtable house not only as a wife, but also as a stepmother to Martin's young daughter, Olivia. This new storyline allowed the show to have a new young child, played by Raven Simonet, bringing fresh energy to the later seasons. But the show went even further to protect its perfect image. In one episode, Cliff Huxtable has a man-to-man talk with his new son-in-law, Martin. The conversation turns to Denise, and Martin confirms to Cliff that Denise was a virgin before they got married. This strange detail shows just how obsessed Cosby was with the purity of his TV daughter's character, even after she was a married woman in her 20s. Bringing Lisa back did not fix the problems between her and Cosby. The tension was still there, bubbling just under the surface. Lenny Kravitz later described their working relationship during this time as tense and ultimately untenable, meaning they couldn't continue working together. On top of their personal issues, there were also reports that Lisa was becoming unprofessional. Some said she was often late to the set. Whether this was true or just a sign of how unhappy she was, it added more fuel to the fire. The breaking point finally came in April 1991. Lisa Bonet was officially fired from The Cosby Show. The official reason given to the public was creative differences. But everyone who knew the real story understood what that meant. It was a code word. It was the public-facing excuse for a power struggle that had been going on for years. Lisa had challenged the emperor one too many times. She had refused to let him control her body, her career, and her life. For that, she was permanently kicked out of the kingdom. When The Cosby Show aired its final episode in 1992, Lisa Bonet was not invited to be a part of it. The daughter, who had been a fan favorite for years, was completely erased from the family's final goodbye. The Silence and the Storm.
I love you.
Yeah, Dad.
Huh?
I know.
Yeah. And maybe your mother loves you too.
For years after she was fired, Lisa Bonet mostly stayed quiet. She focused on raising her daughter and took on small acting roles here and there. But then, the world started to hear whispers about Bill Cosby. Whispers that grew into a storm of accusations from dozens of women. As the perfect image of America's dad began to crumble, Lisa Bonet finally broke her silence. In an interview, she said something that sent chills down everyone's spines. She said that she never knew about any of Cosby's specific actions, but she said there was always a dark energy around him. She called it a sinister shadow energy. She told the reporter that this kind of dark energy cannot be hidden, and that she always felt it when she was working with him. Her words were powerful because she had walked away from him and his show years before the world knew the truth. She had chosen her own path instead of staying in a place that felt wrong. When the full storm of accusations hit and the world was in shock, Lisa had a simple, powerful message. She said, "I don't need to say, 'I told you so.' I just leave all that to karma and justice." Her struggle was no longer just a story about a rebellious actress. It was now seen as the first public warning sign of a much darker truth. Her experience was not the only one. Other cast members had their own complicated stories. Joseph C. Phillips, the actor who played Lisa's on-screen husband Martin, had always looked up to Cosby. He saw him as an idol. But he also said that when he joined the show in 1989, it was common knowledge that Bill played around. He even described a parade of pretty young women that would stream through the studio. His view of his idol shattered one day, years later. He ran into an old friend, a woman who had also been mentored by Cosby. With tears in her eyes, she told Joseph her own story of how Cosby had violated her trust and her body. That conversation changed everything for him. He wrote a public essay with a shocking title, "Of Course Bill Cosby is Guilty." Even actors who did not have a direct conflict with Cosby were affected by his total control. Sabrina LaBeouf played the oldest daughter, Sandra, but her character was not even in the original plan for the show. She was added later because Cosby wanted the family to have a successful college graduate to show they had raised a child right. Because of this, her character was often seen as underutilized. She was not given as many interesting stories as the other kids. This suggests that if a character did not serve a key purpose in Cosby's main message, they were often pushed to the side. Another young actor, Carl Anthony Payne II, who played Theo's best friend Cockroach, also had a difficult time. He and Malcolm Jamal Warner, who played Theo, did not get along. Warner later said that Payne had a huge ego, partly because Payne had been the runner-up for the role of Theo. This tension contributed to Payne leaving the show after just a few seasons. The perfect family on screen was hiding a world of conflict and control behind the scenes. The actors were like pieces on a chessboard, and Cosby was the only one allowed to make the moves. Lisa Bonet was the one piece that refused to be played. So, what is the real reason Lisa Bonet disappeared from The Cosby Show? She did not just disappear, she was pushed out. She was fired because she refused to let one powerful man control her life. Her desire to be a serious artist, her choice to start a family on her own terms, and her gut feeling that something was deeply wrong behind the perfect family facade made her a threat. She was a threat to Bill Cosby's empire of control. Her story, once seen as the drama of a difficult young star, was actually the first major crack in the image of America's dad. It was a warning sign of the darkness he kept hidden, a truth that took the rest of the world decades to finally see.